non-traditional burials, like they were conducted back in the 19th century, are closer to reality in one Newaygo County community. Last week, a judge ruled a new Brooks Township ordinance was unconstitutional.
News 8's Megan Bunchman has been following this story for months. She joins us now in Newaygo with what's next for this green business.
We have to abide by it. Do we agree with it? No.
It's back to the drawing board, says Brooks Township Manager Corey Nelson.
The judge threw out basically our police power ordinance that banned cemeteries.
After a Newaygo judge ruled that a township ordinance that blocked the creation of a green conservation cemetery was unconstitutional.
We had put a police power ordinance in place to ban cemeteries, basically in lieu of the lack of information with green cemeteries. The board did it out of the interest of the citizens with, safety, especially clean water in mind, and the judge, he threw it out.
Peter Quackenbush, who bought this 20-acre property of land with his wife more than 2 years ago, is hoping the ruling leads the way to their future business and next steps of securing a special use permit in the zoned residential space.
Institutions were allowed to operate in this zone with a special use permit, and so we're hoping that that is what we'll be able to proceed with.
The ongoing battle between the Quackenbushes and the township comes down to water quality and surveys. While the health department is not required to conduct a water quality test for cemeteries, it is required to do a soil sampling during a vacant land evaluation.
Their survey includes digging some holes and determining that you are a certain level above the water table, or at least 6 feet above the water table. And so our property passes that with flying colors, and there's no issues there.
In February of 2023, environmental health sanitarian John Ringler sent this letter to the Quackenbushes, citing that the proposed cemetery had been approved based on review of materials and soil evaluations. But Nelson says that department overstepped.
What he did was he used an auger that extends out to 6 feet, like he would do for a residential septic system.
The soil is a great big giant filter. And so these individual burials that are kind of low density, they're surrounded by large amounts of soil, and that is very good at filtering out organic materials.
A green burial allows for a body and the clothing and box it is buried in to decompose naturally. The site is meant to serve as both a low-density cemetery and a nature preserve. Quackenbush says that this business model aligns with his own personal ethos, and he is more than willing to have the state or health department conduct more testing to ease the fears of his neighbors and Nelson.
We are organic creatures, and nature is very capable of breaking us down into our organic parts. And those things include things like nitrogen and carbon and oxygen and phosphorus. And these elements on their own are not toxic. So once nature has done its thing, which we are facilitating, then they are bits and pieces of the cycle of life that really no one has to be afraid of.
Still, Nelson says there simply is not enough data from green burial sites about the long-term ramifications of adjacent watersheds.
I mean, you're talking about the Muskegon River watershed. So if there's open water 15 feet below the top of ground out there that has it's spring fed and it goes directly into the Muskegon River, what does that mean? I mean, I have to protect it, the rural integrity of this township.
Coming up on News 8 at 5 o'clock, more from the township manager and how they're going to navigate balancing the rights of the Quackenbushes and the 24 or so other neighbors in this area. In Newaygo County, I'm Megan Bunchman, News 8.